What is going on to all my Halloween fans out there, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot back again with a brand new movie review, and this is a special one for me, ladies and gentlemen, because I hold this franchise pretty near and dear to my heart. My favorite horror film of all time comes from this franchise. I'm talking about 1978's Halloween, and today, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the sequel to 2018's Halloween and 2021 Halloween Kills, which I got the opportunity to check out last night, and I'm really excited to let you all know what I thought about this movie and let you know it's worth checking out all in this spoiler-free review. Before we break it all down, do me a favor and check me out on all my other social media accounts. If you all are new to this channel, well, welcome to the community. Consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. That way you can get the alert for when I drop new content. If you all enjoyed this spoiler-free review of Halloween Kills, well, make sure to like and share the review. It helps out the channel a lot, but I also appreciate the support. And in those comments, let me know if you were excited for Halloween Kills. Let me know if you were a fan of 2018's Halloween. Are you a fan of this franchise? But more importantly, once you've seen Halloween Kills, we gotta talk about it in the comments. Let's talk about all your positives, your favorite moments, your favorite kill. What were some things you didn't like? What were some things you hated about this film? And also, after seeing this movie, are you excited for Halloween Ends? And since we're talking about the 12th film in the franchise, if you've seen all 12 movies, let's talk about your top 5 Halloween movies, or if you want to, share all 12 of those things in the comments below. So going into this movie, like I said, I'm a fan. I really enjoyed 2018's Halloween, favorite film of all time. I'm a fan of this franchise as a whole, and I was just really excited to see what will David Gordon Green do with this sequel? What will it do regarding pushing the narrative? Will it add more mythology? Will we really get justice for the characters from 1978? This is one of my most anticipated movies 2 years in a row. Here we are discussing it, starting off with my positives. I got to start off with the man that introduced us to the shape back in 1978. I'm talking about John Carpenter, who isn't the director, he isn't the writer, he's the composer. And if you all know me, you know I'm a big fan of scores. I love a good score. 1978's Halloween score is one of my favorite scores of all time, and I love what they did to 2018 score, kind of refining it, adding some new things to it. Ladies and gentlemen, John Carpenter, Cody Carpenter, and Daniel Davies, the score in this film, seeing it in the theater, IMAX with the surround sound, I felt so immersed in this movie with the score. It literally brings chills through my spine whenever I hear that score, number one, especially in the movie theater. The score is fantastic. Even when there were moments in the film where I just wasn't like the biggest fan of, I just love the score. It just puts me in the mood. It's so haunting, so simple but haunting, and just so thrilling to hear that score. So for all my fans of the Halloween franchise and all my fans of good scores, this is one of my favorite scores of 2018. Again, it's the same score from 1978, but they refined it. They added some new flavor to it, and I absolutely love the flavor they added to it. So score, fantastic. But let's talk about these characters, starting off with my favorite Scream Queen, my favorite Final Girl. I'm talking about the one and only Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode, who is back, who thinks for a little bit in this movie, and this isn't a spoiler, it's obviously in the trailers if you've seen it, but she thought back in 2018's film, she killed him. She got rid of the shape, but no, he is back, and just seeing the frustration, seeing the determination of Laurie in this film, and just her not only wanting to in this, but just her wanting to protect her family, because she's been going through this trauma for 40 plus years. She's carried this trauma into her relationships, into her friendships that she doesn't have anymore, because she's so obsessed with preparing for this night. And she thought that she ended it back in 2018, but no, the shape is still out there. So I love, and we'll talk about the use of Laurie a little bit later, but in regards to whenever Jamie Lee Curtis is on screen, she's absolutely fantastic. But also, I want to touch on her family. I want to talk about her daughter, played by Judy Greer as Karen, who gets a lot to do in this movie. And I'm not the biggest fan of some of the stuff she does in this movie, but I think Judy does a great job. She's what they say, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. She wants to protect her family. She wants to protect her mom, but also her daughter, losing her husband in that last film and what that meant to her. So I really enjoyed the arc that we get with Karen's character. And also Allyson, she's okay. The actress is fine. I just don't think the franchise really knows what to do with Allyson. But she was okay in this movie. But I really want to take a moment. Again, being a fan of 1978's Halloween, it was such a joy to see Tommy, Lindsay, Miriam, and obviously some of those actors like Anthony Michael Hall wasn't the same actor that played Tommy back in 1978, but his story was very interesting. He is the Laurie essentially in this film from 2018. He is no longer afraid. He wants to fight the boogeyman. He wants to put his dark demons aside, and just him finding Michael was such a goal for him this film, and I really enjoyed that narrative. But also seeing Lindsay, who is the same actress that played Lindsay in 1978, was such a treat to see. Miriam, the nurse and the assistant to Dr. Loomis, she was great in the film. I didn't think I would be like as excited to see them as much as I did. End up really enjoying them. It was kind of like I don't want to say to this degree of seeing Star Wars Force Awakens, seeing Luke and Han and Leia, but it really did bring a smile to my face to see those characters and seeing them in this new refined version of the film. So that was really enjoyable. But I gotta talk about the man. I gotta talk about my favorite slasher of all time, the absolute MVP of this movie, who has 0 lines in the film, but has a lot to say with the eyes and with the heavy breathing. I'm talking about the shape himself, Michael Myers. I'm not speaking hyperbole. I've seen all 12 films. This is the best version of Michael Myers, in my opinion. The journey that this shape goes through in this film, straight relentless, and this kind of goes into, this is talking to Michael Myers, but also talking about the kills. This isn't grotesque to the Rob Zombie nature where he's just smashing heads and doing just like a bunch of like kind of just stuff that was just too over the top. This is Michael Myers with a goal. This is Michael Myers like literally wrecking shop. I mean, this is carnage. The movie is literally called Halloween Kills. This has some of the best kills in the franchise. Not only does it pay homage to like Halloween 3, pay homage to the films that came before it, but it has it kind of doesn't redefine the slasher genre. But this is, when I see slasher, this is what I want to see. I want to see my slasher, icon of a Michael Myers going through people. He does that multiple times in this film, and there are multiple scenes in which Michael has to face not just one person, but groups of people, and he doesn't disappoint. I'll just kind of leave it at that. So all my Michael Myers fans out there are some like silly things that they do with the character, but for the most part, I was thoroughly entertained by what they did with the character Michael Myers. And that kind of just brings me to, again, the director here, David Gordon Green. There is the first half of this film for me was like some of the best Halloween stuff I've seen in the franchise. The setup, the flashbacks, the setting Michael on the path of what he's trying to do in this movie. Like literally the first half of this movie is like really riveting, really engaging, really compelling, hella entertaining. The crowd was really eating it all up. There's some, comedic beats that makes his way into the film. So I think the first half of this film was absolutely some of the best stuff in the entire franchise. Which unfortunately brings me to my criticisms. It's almost as if there were a whole new team working on this film, and I won't say what happens, but there's a point in this movie, and I compare it to 2018's Halloween because there's a particular part, light spoiler, the doctor wanted to be the new Michael Myers. I did not like that angle, and I thought it was kind of poorly executed. They don't do something like that, but there is a particular plot in this film that, again, if you see the trailers, you see that the town's going crazy. They're going on this manhunt looking for the shape Michael Myers, and there's a portion of this film that they're doing this, and Michael's kind of put on the back burner, and it's just the most silliest thing I've seen in the franchise in a very long time. And there's some really silly, stupid stuff in the franchise, but what they do with a particular character that may or may not have ties to Michael Myers, I was not a fan of that at all. I get what they were doing. I understand what they were doing. It's not that I didn't understand what they were trying to say in regard to this kind of. The last 2018 had a little bit of social commentary. This one tried to have some social commentary regarding like the mob mentality and how, people, the blind leading the blind per se. And I get all that stuff, but man, I wish they cut that part out of the film and focus more on Michael, focus more on Laurie, focus more on her kids and, her daughter and her granddaughter. I wish there was more of the ramifications of 2018's Halloween. There's literally a scene that really kind of touched me, and it was only like 10 seconds where a character by the name of Oscar, who, if you all remember, he was killed in 2018 when he was the kid on the fence. His mom's looking for him all night, and she finally finds him. And I wish we could have just got more of the ramifications of the last film, but instead they put in this silly ass plot with the townspeople and the particular character that does something. I'm like, why is it doing that? And then the comedy beats. Halloween, all the Halloween films have some light levity, have a little bit of comedy. But we're dealing with David Gordon Green, who's known for directing some comedies in his past. Danny McBride is a producer and also writer of this film. It was too much comedy for me. And when you see the film, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I like the actors, but I wasn't really a big fan of where the placement of this particular Big John, Little John aspect of the film comes in. It just kind of threw me out of the menacing, serious nature that was going on in the first half. And then it brings me, without spoiling anything, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to even talk about the story because the story is very bland. The story, which none of the Halloween films, like even my favorite horror film of all time, is a very simple story. It's not the most complex story. The story is very bland. The ending of this movie frustrated the hell out of me, and I won't spoil it obviously, but there's a scene I enjoyed of the ending, but what happens at the end made no sense to me, and it really left me frustrated when I walked out of the theater. It's a lot of setup in this movie, which I'm okay with, but it's just how they set it up that just really kind of I don't even want to, I almost slipped out. I don't want to say it, but I'm just not a fan of the ending. I'll just leave it at that. So, unfortunately, when we hit a certain point in this film, it's like I said, it's almost like the polar opposite of what happens in the first half. And the film, to me, gets worse as it goes on, which is very unfortunate because I'm such a big fan of this franchise. I was really excited for it. So before I give you all my overall thoughts and give you my overall score, before we get into all that, make sure you're liking the video, sharing the video, leaving your thoughts in the comments, and of course, subscribing to the channel. Overall, I gotta say, if you're a fan of the Halloween franchise, if you're a fan of Michael Myers, they don't disappoint with the character in this film. Laurie is great as she always is. We do get a little bit more development with her family. It was nice to see some of those OG characters make their way into the big screen, and the kills are fantastic. Unfortunately, when there's a certain part of the film, which is kind of like the second half onward, the film just kind of loses its momentum and loses its focus. It worries so much about setting up the third one, which I'm still looking forward to, I'm not going to lie, but it really left a bad taste in my mouth once the film just kind of switches itself on its head and just gets crazy and gets very ridiculous. And I just gotta say that. With all that being said, though, I was still entertained. I still recommend you all check it out. The score, the being in the atmosphere, it's that perfect time of the year to see a type of film like this. I'm gonna give Halloween Kills a solid 3 out of 5, with the caveat of I've seen Halloween 2018 quite a few times since I saw it 3 years ago, and even though I'm not a big fan of that doctor reveal, I haven't ignored it, but I've learned to live with it. So maybe when I see Halloween Kills again, I'll be able to slowly but surely, I don't know, it's going to be kind of hard to forgive that ending, but the middle part of the film, I might be able to live with it as time goes by. But as I stand right now, after seeing it last night, I'm going to give this film a 3 out of 5. And I recommend you all checking it out. But please, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a fan like me, lower the bar, lower the expectations, and you might walk out pretty satisfied. So that's just my thoughts on Halloween Kills. Let me know yours once you've seen it, your pros, your cons, your thoughts, your theories for what you hope to see in the third film, which again, even though I don't like the ending, I am excited to see how they end things in Halloween Ends, which comes out next year. And listen, if there's one thing I want to see in this third film, I want to see Michael Myers. We always know he sets the stage. He kills people and like puts them in like certain positions. I want to see a scene of him actually doing that in the next film. I'll just say that. But check out the movie, and when you do, let me know your pros, your cons, and everything in between. But again, I appreciate every single one of you all watching this review. Before you leave, make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. That way you don't miss any more other content. I have seen a film that I'm really excited to talk about pretty soon. I'll be dropping my review on that pretty soon, which is Dune, so keep an eye out for that. As you all can see on the screen now, subscribe to the channel, check out my other content. We'll see you in the next video.